This video is not intended for anyone 13 or younger. Hello viewers and welcome. I'm your humble host Josh24214 and once again we're back for another My Hero Academia chapter read-through, and today we're going to be tackling 271. And last time we got some huge information about All for One and the Mad Doctors, in how they met. We got to know what the Mad Doctor's quirk was. It was life force, and we learned that now Shigaraki has the original All for One quirk, while All for One during his fight with All Might was basically a copy. So we don't know if All for One's original quirk is already preloaded with other quirks, or does Shigaraki has to get his own. So yeah, hopefully that'll be answered soon. And Shigaraki is already starting to wake up from his near-death trance, basically. So we are going to see what's going to happen. So let's not waste any time and move on with chapter 271. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes 2 simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. And we do get a cover page on this chapter, but we don't get it until like a few pages on, so we'll get to that. So we start out with, we do get a cover page for chapter 271, but we'll talk about it when we see it. On the first page, we don't continue where we left off. Instead we go back in time a little back to before Tokoyami goes out of Fat Gum and goes and tried to save Hawks from Dobby a few chapters, like 2 chapters back. And we get a little caption box saying, a bit earlier, about 30 meters behind the Gunga Villa front line, we see Fat Gum running back through the woods and saying, "Oh no, you don't Tatsuyukumi." And we see that it is Tokoyami trying to escape out of Fat Gum using Dark Shadow. And I think it's still Fat Gum talking, and he says, "Don't," as Fat Gum tries to hold back Tokoyami. And he finishes while Tokoyami flies off with Dark Shadow off to save Hawks from Dobby. And Fat Gum finishes saying, "Don't ditch this ride," trying to be fancy, Fat Gum. And then we continue with Charge Bolt continuing saying, "What are you are you thinking, you idiot?" Speaking from the man who thought he tried to run away a few chapters back, and not before gaining a lot bloodlust and tried to continue the fight. Tokoyami continues saying, "I spotted Hawks on the top floor. He's probably in trouble." And right he was. So Tokoyami goes flying off as Fat Gum goes into his head, saying, he does have some inner thoughts dialogue saying, "I know the kid is strong, but nobody's ever escaped my fat until now." So yeah, that's kind of a first, someone actually escaped from Fat Gum's fat. And with Fat Gum continuing to talk, he says, "Hawks? Really?" And on the next panel, Fat Gum just expels the other one Charge Bolt, Mushroom, and I can't remember the other guy's name at the moment. So Fat Gum continues saying, You kids are hoofing it from here on out," as Mushroom Girl falls out, saying, "Eek!" As Fat Gum dashes out the outer way, runs the other way, and probably assuming going back to the battle at the hotel, while Fat Gum proclaims, No ride and dash allowed. As Fat Gum runs the other way, presumably, and we get to see the full cover page, and we see it's Tokoyami in Native American gear, like literally goes friggin' nuts on Native American gear. Native looked like a complete Native American. I don't know if it's offensive, but the artwork's still great from Kohei Horikoshi. We get our usual Kohei Horikoshi, translation by Cabal Cook, and lettering from John Hurt, and we get the title chapter of this episode of this chapter number 271, Dark Cloud. So yeah, that's probably letting us know that yeah, a dark cloud is looming with Shigaraki waking up when we finally catch up. So we move on to the next page and we continue where we left Tokuyami with Dabi and Hawks as they're about to fight with Dark Shadow just covering Hawks' back from the flames. And we do see multiple panels of first Dabi and he's just wiping something from his face, and then we cut away to Hawks on the ground and he's still alive. As we see Dark Shadow starts talking to Tokoyami, and Dark Shadow says, Fumi Cage. It doesn't look, it looks bad. And Tokoyami continues saying, don't say that. And Dark Shadow continues saying, his back, it's gone. So it's implied that all of his feathers on Hawks' back is gone, like burned to a crisp. As we see Dabi continues off and he starts the conversation again, saying, you're one of those UA kids. They're dragging students into this mess? How tacky. As Dabi continues, he continues the conversation while pointing over the corpse of Twice, who's been dead for quite some time, saying, with Dabi continuing saying, check it out, kid, as he points to Twice's dead corpse. And Dabi continues on the next page saying, your man killed this guy. He was just running off to protect his pals. But in the end, he got stabbed in the back. While that stab in the back line, we cut away to Tokoyami being shocked by all of this, hearing the news that Hawks has committed murder. And then Dabi continues more, and he says, why are you here anyway? As we cut away back to the ground floor of the battle inside the hotel, as Dabi continues saying, came to do some saving? But saving who exactly? As we cut back to Dabi, and he says, these pros you look up so much? These pros you look up to so much? Their hands are dirtier than ours. As we cut to the next page, we do see Hawks trying to get Tokoyami's attention. Before I continue, yeah, Hawks has done terrible things. Yeah, he did kill Twice. Twice was a necessary evil that was a necessary evil, and Twice had to be stopped before his Sad Man Parade was unleashed and turned the tide for the villains in this fight. That's perfectly understandable that Hawks was sent there to spy on the villains, and sometimes you have to do terrible things to get the job done, and by potentially killing villains is a necessary thing, but it's kind of the last resort kind of deal. As we saw throughout the last couple of chapters, Hawks did not instinctively try to kill Twice right away. Hawks was trying to get Twice to say, put your weapons down, you're coming with me, peace and quiet, you don't have to die. And it's just like Twice just escalated that part and it led to Twice's death. And yeah, Tokoyami doesn't even know about the whole and probably also that Dobby was trying to mean that meant the whole hands are dirtier. Yeah, I think he was also implying about the whole Hawks killing Best Genus thing. We don't even know if it's we did see Best Genus's corpse, but we don't know if it's a fake or not. But by what we've seen, yeah, that is the real Best Genus, and yeah, he's dead at this point. So with that 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 I can argue that Hawks needed to get the League of Villains trust, and so he had to kill somebody. It's kind of a necessary evil as well, unless Hawks had done some elaborate ruse to gain their trust, but unless they clarify it, but I don't know. So yeah, about that, I've done enough of the rambling. So we continue with Hawks saying what I brought up with having Hawks saying Toko Yami, as Toko Yami's just looking at Hawks and Hawks is looking at Tokoyami, and Dobby's just looking at the whole scene. And Tokoyami starts up the conversation again, saying, "I'm just concerned about my mentor," as Tokoyami's just getting ready to pick up Hawks and run, and Dark Shadow's just there to protect him. As Dobby continues saying, "You, you, you've, you've stopped thinking. You stopped thinking for yourself." As we move on to the next page, after that sentence, Dobby just starts doing another fire burst attack and try to cook Flambe Tokoyami, but he does get out of the way, but his one of his feet, like his left foot, it was get caught by his flames, by Dobby's fire blast. And Tokoyami continues like, "Urgh!" As we get Tokoyami's inner monologue saying, "Too cramped, can't dodge." As Dark Shadow continues saying, "Sorry, Tokoyami." And I think this is Tokoyami's inner thoughts saying, "And the bright flames are holding back Dark Shadow." Yeah, it's bringing up the weakness again with the whole Dark Shadow being vulnerable to light and fire, because yeah, that really doesn't work with Dark Shadow. So yeah, Tokoyami is basically out of his league against Dobby. You need someone who's, unless Tokoyami can do something about that, I don't think Tokoyami's best equipped to deal with Dobby right now. And Tokoyami continues his inner monologue saying, "There's no time to lose. I have to escape and get Hawks some first aid." And after, but he's rudely interrupted by Hawks butting in saying, he'll keep talking, as Tokoyami pays attention. And while that's going on, Dobby comes into this next panel saying, on the next page, saying, "Think about it, you pair of think about it, you pair of roasted birds. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? You. Who is it who really needs saving?" And Tokoyami's just looking at Dobby, and Tokoyami continues saying, "Give me an order," and that's implying about Hawks, as Hawks leans over his ear and starts talking. And I think the next bit of dialogue is Hawks talking his inner monologue, saying, "He's got too busy chatting to kill me properly, and now it's happening again. It's not because he was that much leeway." And we get like a little flashback to Hawks versus Dobby a couple of chapters back. And Hawks continues saying, he's trying to rattle us to buy time for himself, since his flames have become weaker, and he can't fire them off all in a row." As we see Hawks talks normally again, saying, "Go now," letting Tokoyami know to run. As we see on the next page, we do see Dark Shadows about to lunge into Dobby, but Dabi kinda dodges it, but that's only a distraction for Tokoyami, carrying Hawks, trying to jump over the balcony and tried to get to a lower floor. And we do see Tokoyami does do that, and while Dark Shadow is helping him swing across to two floors down, we do see Dark Shadow starts talking, saying, Tokoyami. As we continue seeing Dark Shadow is not strong enough to hold the both of them, hold both Tokoyami and Hawks, as Dark Shadow slunk away down, saying, sorry, no strength, because the flames from Dabi is starting to crawl along the balcony. And we do see that Tokoyami and Hawks do take a stumble, and there's like a weird moment of Hawks hitting the ground. As Tokoyami on the next panel checks on Hawks, saying, Hawks, Hawks! As we go into Tokoyami's inner monologue, while making sure Tokoyami's just checking on Hawks to make sure he's okay. And Tokoyami's inner monologue saying, breathing. Yes, just knocked out from that bump. As we get Tokoyami continuing starts talking externally, saying, I'm sorry, Hawks. Dark Shadow, no flames down here. As Tokoyami's carrying Hawks and Dark Shadow's just about to fly the both of them away, doing Black Fallen Angel and all the angst. But before he gets to fly away, Dabi, before Tokoyami flies away, guess what happens? Dabi comes down from from 2 floors above, and then just before reaching the floor Tokoyami's on, he pulls an endeavor and uses his flames as jets to levitate a bit, and he's basically flying at this point, with Tokoyami shocked by seeing this. Yeah, way to go to rip off your old man, Dabi, and I'm just saying that, it's basically at this point, we all know that, Dabi is basically the lost Todoroki that everybody keeps theorizing about at this point. And Dabi continues. While doing that, he's just getting ready to do another fire blast, with Dabi saying, I kind of saw this coming, so I made those last 2 fire blasts weaker to save some gas in the tank. As Dabi's getting ready for his next big fire blast. As we see Tokoyami just shocked by all of this, as he's just about to get roasted by Dabi. But on the next panel, it's a full-page spread of a giant iceberg just instantly bursts out from inside to outside. From a giant iceberg crops out of nowhere. But before things can get interesting with Dabi and Tokoyami, we are rudely interrupted, cut back outside where Fat Gum is outside, and he's managed to make his way to the front lines again. And he's saying, whoa! As what he sees is that same giant iceberg pushing outward to push Mount Lady out of the goddamn building. And very strangely, and for some spank material, Horikoshi draws pretty much a fat Mountain Lady's giant ass is about to crash land on top of Fat Gum. But Fat Gum gets out of the way in time, and Fat Gum just says, booty incoming! Okay, I'll let that slide, okay? Okay, weirdly enough, in the panel with Mount Lady coming out, that her ass crack is weirdly drawn. like the top of her ass, like it's. You know what? I'm just gonna let it slide. We cut to Mount Lady, and she says, "Ice," as she's just recovering from the blast. And, and we pretty much know who committed that giant ice blast attack, and it's other than Gidan, finally making her attack as she starts talking and she starts rallying the members of the Quirk Liberation Army, the former members, as she starts rallying the men, saying, "No more, no more getting in Reed Destro's way, and don't go thinking you'll die painless deaths, you dogs of the state." As Gidan is getting ready for battle, conjuring another ice storm ready to rumble with the other pro heroes. And we continue in the next page, one of the random mooks saying, "Gidan!" As Gidan interrupts and continues, "I've pushed back their attack. Pointless skirmishes here and here are just. I pushed back their attack. Pointless skirmishes here are just playing into their hands." As we continue with the battle we see Gang Orca in 2 panels with Gidan continuing saying, "Focus on one point and crack open a hole." As we see on the next panel with Killer Orca just about to get attacked by a guy who's making holes out of the ice, and Killer Orca is going to kind of have some trouble. And with that weird foreshadowing out of the way, we continue back to Dobby as he recovers from that attack from Gidan's ice attack, as he continues saying, "Ow, that icy punk sure knows how to let loose." As we see Dobby tries to look for Tokoyami, but it's soon seen that Tokoyami escaped with Hawks. As Dobby proclaims, saying, "Should we get started early? Should we get started early?" As we see Tokoyami with Hawks and Dark Shadow escaping from the hotel, off they go to find some medical attention for Hawks. As we continue on the next page, we see Hawks crying his eyes out, going through all the revelation from Dobby, with Tokoyami saying for the next few dialogues with a panel for Tokoyami and Hawks, with Tokoyami saying while crying, your hands aren't dirty, Hawks. I believe in you. Everyone does. You did the right thing. So don't die on us." Now it's implied that, yeah, Tokoyami, yeah, he's doing the same thing that I was saying, that, yeah, sometimes you have to do bad things to do the right thing and when you're trying to save lives. But with Tokoyami's crying, we quickly cut back to the underground where Reed Destro is, and we cut to Reed Destro as he starts a conversation with a random mook saying, "What's the hold up? What's the hold up on my spare legs?" As some random mooks just being silent for some reason, and that mook says, "Reed Destro," as Reed Destro continues saying, "What now?" As we see on the final page of the chapter, we see Giga finally stood up. As the mook said, he stood up. As we see Giga rising up, standing up on his 2 legs. For the last couple of chapters, Giga has been doing nothing. And now, Giga on the last panel starts sniffing, as Giga says in the last panel, saying, "Master sent." As Giga realizes Shigaraki is awake, and Giga is about to be unleashed upon the battlefield to protect his master. Next chapter hits, May 24th. And that was My Hero Academia Chapter 271. And yeah, we kind of got a bit of a fight with Tokoyami and Dabi. I kind of expected that fight was going to go the way the chapter did. That Tokoyami is kind of not prepared to fight Dabi yet, with the whole weakness of Dark Shadow being affected by light and fire. Is not a very good person to fight with Dabi, as we do get a little setup of fights with Gedan getting ready to fight, as Gang Orca is gonna kind of get another fight with the guy with holes coming out and try to sneak attack on Killer Orca. And we're kind of caught up to where we are now with from the last chapter, with Shigaragi's going to awake and Giga's just about to go and try to protect his master. So I do hope that Giga does get a fight with one of some of the heroes, with our heroes. I think it'd be a very interesting fight with Giga. That maybe we do get a fight with Red Riot and Pinky, because those two did encounter Giga before they entered UA. So I would like to see Red Riot and Pinky get into a fight with Giga. But I'm just giving my hopes up, and I probably think Giga's just gonna fight some random pro hero. And I think we're starting to get some 1A action, with the students of 1A finally getting into the fray of this fight. And things could go either crazy any minute, with Shigaraki going to probably in the next chapter we'll see Shigaraki go crazy and start killing pro heroes and slaughtering them all. So yeah, this has been Josh24214, and next time it'll be chapter 272 on May 24th or 25th. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you on the very next chapter. So bye for now.